In the very beginning, before cities, before nations, before history as we know it, the Bible tells us that God created the world. He made the sky, the land, the oceans, and every living thing. He filled the earth with beauty, trees, rivers, flowers, and animals of every kind. And when everything was ready, God created the first humans, a man named Adam, and later, a woman named Eve. God placed them in a beautiful garden called the Garden of Eden. This garden was more than just a place to live. It was peaceful, abundant, and full of life. Adam and Eve had everything they needed. They walked freely, worked joyfully, and lived in harmony with nature and with God Himself. God gave them just one instruction. In the middle of the garden stood two special trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God told Adam and Eve they could eat from every tree in the garden, except one. They were not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God warned them that eating from it would bring serious consequences. At this point, life was simple. There was trust, peace, and no shame. Everything was exactly as it should be. One day, a serpent came into the garden. The Bible describes the serpent as clever and deceptive. The serpent spoke to Eve and asked a simple question. Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden? Eve replied that they could eat from almost every tree, but not from the one in the middle. She explained that God had warned them not to eat from it, or they would die. But the serpent challenged God's words. You will not surely die, it said. God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. Eve looked at the fruit. It appeared beautiful and desirable. She believed the serpent's words. She took the fruit and ate it. Then she gave some to Adam, who was with her, and he ate it too. Immediately, everything changed. Their eyes were opened, but not in the way they expected. Instead of gaining wisdom and power, they became aware of their nakedness and felt shame for the first time. They tried to cover themselves with leaves and hid when they heard God walking in the garden. When God called out to them, Adam and Eve were afraid. They admitted what they had done, but instead of taking responsibility, they blamed others. Adam blamed Eve, and Eve blamed the serpent. Because of their disobedience, God explained that life would no longer be easy. Pain, struggle, and hardship would now be part of the human experience. The ground would be difficult to work, relationships would be strained, and Adam and Eve could no longer stay in the Garden of Eden. God sent them out of the garden and placed guards to protect the tree of life. But the story does not end in anger or abandonment. Before they left, God showed compassion. He made clothing for Adam and Eve, covering their shame. And He gave them hope, a promise that evil would not have the final word. The story of Adam and Eve is more than just an ancient story. It speaks to choices we all face. It reminds us that trust matters, that actions have consequences, and that listening to voices that lead us away from truth can bring harm. But it also shows us something deeper: God's continued care, even when people fail. Though Adam and Eve made a mistake, they were not abandoned. And through this story, the Bible reminds us that failure is not the end of the story. Hope is always present. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you're notified when new videos are released. Your support makes a big difference and helps us continue creating content for you.